to now talk about fermentation. Now, fermentation is a process which is seen in anaerobic. Okay, it is a process of anaerobic respiration. So, what happens in anaerobic respiration? In anaerobic respiration, there is something called as the lack of oxygen. So the respiration proceeds under the lack of oxygen. Okay, so in this anaerobic respiration, glycolysis happens. But after glycolysis, the next step will be in the absence of oxygen, and that is called as anaerobic respiration. Now, if you see certain important names that are associated with anaerobic respiration, first, you're going to talk about the person who coined the term, which is Gay Lussac. He's the person who coined the term fermentation, and extensive study in fermentation was carried out by Louis Pasteur. Okay, so mostly this fermentation is seen in anaerobes because they survive without oxygen. But some structures like muscles, that especially the mitochondria of the muscles in humans, also see this type of uh, anaerobic respiration or fermentation, and we will see how. So let us go to the first type of fermentation, that is alcoholic fermentation. The first type is called alcoholic fermentation because the end product is an alcohol. It is most commonly seen in yeast. So what is happening here? The starting product will be the 2-pyruvic acid, 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, which has come from glycolysis. As I've already told you in the beginning, glycolysis is common for both pyruvic acid, sorry, glycolysis is common for both aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, right? So that glycolysis will produce the pyruvic acid, which will now undergo the first step, which is decarboxylation. The first step, which is called decarboxylation. So what is decarboxylation? Decarboxylation is loss of carbon dioxide. Who is losing carbon dioxide? The pyruvic acid will lose carbon dioxide molecule. How many pyruvic acids? 2. So you will lose 2 carbon dioxide molecules. Now this loss is characterized by again a specific enzyme, and that enzyme is called as, that specific enzyme that carries out the reaction is called pyruvic pyruvic decarboxylase. So that is the enzyme that carries out this particular decarboxylation. And what is the product you're getting? The product you're getting is 2 molecules of acetaldehyde. Okay. Now next what happens is, and this carbon dioxide, what happens? It is released in the form of carbon dioxide gas. Next what happens is the second step. The second step is called reduction. This step is called reduction. So what happens in reduction? In reduction, this as acetaldehyde will get reduced. Now remember, I was telling you that in living systems you have redox reactions. That means if one substance is getting reduced, another one will get oxidized. So if you want acetaldehyde to get reduced, you need some sort of a donor. Somebody should become the reducing agent. So who will be that reducing agent? 2NADH. So 2NADH will get converted into 2 molecules of NAD. And what is it doing at that time? At that time, when it is getting converted into that condition that we were talking about, it will release the hydrogen molecules which will go to the acetaldehyde. So acetaldehyde is getting reduced and NAD, what is happening to it? It is getting oxidized. So that is why we call it as a redox reaction. Okay, so after that you have the formation of two molecules of ethyl alcohol. Now this redox reaction, this oxidation reduction reaction happens under the presence of an enzyme. What is the name of the enzyme? I'll write the name of the enzyme here. It is alcoholic dehydrogenase. Okay, so in the presence of that enzyme, the NADH is converted into NAD and the hydrogens go and reduce acetaldehyde to form ethyl alcohol. So this becomes our alcoholic fermentation, which is very commonly seen in yeast. That too at a certain level. If the amount of ethyl alcohol in the yeast is somewhere less than 14%, then it is beneficial. But if it is more than 14%, it will be harmful to the yeast. Now, if you see this alcoholic fermentation, is there any energy that is produced? Zero. There is no ATP that is produced, no NADPH that is used. Is there any energy that it used? Yes. What is it using? Here. Can you see? It is using 2NADH. And where is this 2NADH coming from? It is coming from glycolysis. So, after glycolysis and after this fermentation process, alcoholic fermentation and glycolysis, after they happen combinedly, what is happening here? What is happening here is the after the entire fermentation process is done, then you are having somewhere of only 2 ATP of energy that is left, which you have generated by the end of glycolysis. Okay.
For more content, like, share and subscribe to www.i-win.in.